Welcome to another chapter discussion for One Piece, chapter 1149, another absolute banger of a chapter. Some massive things started happening on Elbaf. So of course, this is your spoiler warning. If for some reason you land on this video and you are not manga caught up to One Piece, then you're gonna need to scroll on. The community discussion we had around this chapter was fantastic. We got a lot of good new theories cooking and a lot of predictions as to what's about to happen in the One Piece world. So that's what we're going to go over in this video. Before we get too deep into it, make sure you like, subscribe, and drop a comment letting me know what you thought about this most recent chapter. All right, let's get it, guys. One Piece chapter 1149. I saw a second ago y'all were saying the big conversation on Twitter right now is Scopper, Gabon versus Rayleigh. Like, are they comparable? And I think Jet said it's like, same with just, Zoro and Sanji. Response to Jet's bit, I do genuinely think currently right now Zoro is absolutely stronger than Sanji. But I do like your point of like, they're not really to be compared. They're very strong for different reasons and they have different purposes on the crew. It's not a fair comparison at that point. It is really all I'm getting at there. Lilith, Robin, and Nami looking crazy. Dude, they are. I have seen, all right, so I do want to point out that there's some stuff that I did see about this color spread that's a little interesting. First off, where's like the rest of the crew? Brooke's not here. Jinbei's not here. Frankie's not here. Who the hell is this cat? Why does Bonnie have like a little RIP stone? Like, why she got a stone like that? That's just crazy. That's scary. Is this gonna be another one of those like Usopp was holding the death card, so Usopp's the next one to die? Like that's weird. Also, what's up with Ram guy here? Why is he here? Who's he representing? I don't necessarily know. Yeah, Lilith and Nami and Robin going crazy. I'm not such a Nami simp. I'm gonna be real, dude. I think the Nami love is a little bit. She's overloved. I think she's a baddie, but dude. When Robin's right there, could be wrong, but you feel like it might say ripoff. Usopp is terrified at the bill. I think Usopp's looking at the bill being like, holy this is a problem. The cat is also looking at the bill like, holy this is a problem. Yeah, so we got the rip right here. No clue what that says. I could see the ripoff, but I don't think that makes sense. This does look like a tombstone. Botakuri, I don't know if Botakuri means something specifically deeper than what it is. It means extremely high price. Okay, so yeah, literally the point of this is just incredibly expensive maid cafe. That's why Usopp and the cat is like, is this how much we're spending on this? Just looked it up and it means to be ripped off or overcharged, so you think your rip-off thing is right. That actually might be right, dude. That's crazy if it's to be overcharged. That's really, really interesting, and I can see Oda doing that to throw us off, but he really is just saying this place is a rip-off. That seems like a very Oda-coded thing to do. I like that a lot, Yamato. Good looks, guys. Good looks and good sleuthing. Now that we've made it to this point in the video, if you would like an uncut version of my full reaction and read-through of this chapter, that will be up on Patreon in the link below. If you're interested in the full reactions, they are there every single week before I upload this video right here. We also do live streams every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you would like to join in on the conversation and be a part of one of these YouTube videos, come hang out with us. And lastly, we've got a Discord down there where we theory craft all week long, all kinds of fantastic community things for you guys to join. Consider locking in on that. But if you just want the discussion, then the wait is over. Let's get into it. Allow Mu to show you the dominance of God. Oh my god. This is crazy, dude. The main theory right now is maybe she was royal and Brooke worked for her family. If she spent time with Brooke when she was a child, whomever this person is, do we also think that this person might be in a kind of aging stasis that the Gorosei are in? Obviously, we saw that Saint Saturn was there at God Valley. He hasn't aged a day since then, so we know by that the Gorosei are like not aging as well as being immortal in that capacity. Gunko doesn't look like she would be old enough to have been a kid knowing Brooke before he was a skeleton to like what she looks like right now. So does Gunko also have that immortality? A lot of people are thinking it's Yorkie's kid, his old captain, Brooke's old captain. Okay, maybe. And people really tried to say Elbaf is falling off. Dude, how could you not be excited about what's going on in Elbaf right now? Gunko hair got longer if you didn't notice, but last panel is aura. Oh, facts, dude. I mean, the aura is insane. But yeah, so I do see hair flowing like behind her now. If Brooke is the father, another addition to huge ensemble of deadbeats we already have. Dude, on God, I don't want Brooke to get that. I'm hoping that she's like the child of someone Brooke was close to. I'm praying for that, dude. Because yeah, but with the whole father reference, that is just insane, dude. I mean, and then the Yoho, I mean, dude, this could be his daughter somehow. Oh my god, dude. Who would have thought that Gunko would end up being Brooke's freaking daughter? People are saying maybe Imu possesses Lily's body and that's why her hair grew. because Emu has long hair, and then now that Emu's possessing Gunko, Gunko's gonna look more like whatever Emu looks like. Is that the thought process there? The eyes change to what Emu looks like with no heterochromia. This is obviously Emu. Like, this is obviously Emu popping into her. Usopp's arc? Nah, Brooke's arc. Dude, wild twist. Emu, we think, is more than one person, so maybe there is Mu and Eem. Ooh, I like that a lot. I've definitely mentioned the fact that, like, the Gorosei could be inhabited by, like, the actual demon that they turn into, as well as, like, their original self. So maybe Emu is also a conglomerate of souls like that, or at least two of them, Mu and Eem. That is crazy. And then those could have different personalities that makes things go crazy as well. Ooh, there's a lot to that, bro. There's a lot to that. People think either Nami or Mihawk are related to Emu, but in your opinion, why would Emu have a family since he's basically a secret? I mean, so the Emu family did exist. I mean, so the reference that we have for Emu being a immortal being in the first place was Ivankov referencing the fact that there was a great King Emu back in the day, which would just imply that that king also has a lineage. So I think it's fair to assume that there absolutely could be family members of Emu that outright don't know they're family members of Emu because that person disappeared from time, basically. But, I mean, the bloodline still exists. Nerona Emu. Yes, there it is. There it is. You think Emu can control the Holy Knights? Yes. With what we just saw on that panel, I already immediately and wholeheartedly agree with that first line. Our cover story is an OG style and is set up very much like the end of Mary and Ace. The death bait visualized, then Usopp and the cat. I feel like the cat is important. You don't know why, but Bonnie is holding a book that says RIP, thinking it says RIP Mu. I think Emu is going to die soon. The Holy Land is on fire. Makes me think Dragon and the Revs are off greeting Marijois as we speak. I fully agree with that. I think they have actually made their move, and we just haven't been told that they made their move yet. Oda did say through Dragon, when the Knights make a move, so will they, and they've now made a move. Two options. Firstly, the newspaper we get at the beginning of Egghead is actually for the end of Egghead. So not only will Dragon see Vega's last message, within hours they'll get a paper saying his son killed Vegapunk and Saturn potentially, and might see this as the movements he's been waiting for. So while we are in Elbaf traveling to it, maybe the Revs have already set out sail. Honestly, dude, real quick, that's something I didn't even think about, because I was arguing that now that the Holy Knights made their move on Elbaf, that's going to, like when News Morgan spread the word about that, that's going to be what gets Dragon to move. But you could argue that just the Gorosei making landfall on Egghead could be enough for Dragon to be like, all right, it's time to go. But it is interesting that he specifically said when the Knights move is when they will move. But either way, I do agree with you that revolutionaries are just cooking on Marijois right now. BB and Dragon are attacking. You think Blackbeard is also at Marijois right now? That is wild. Why do people think it's Blackbeard? Where's the Blackbeard part of it come in? I'm not mad about it. I'm just curious. About the BB being at Marijois, remember he had Lafayette watching over what the Revs were doing? Yes, I do remember that. And I won't deny it. I think Lafayette's there, so he might be working there. But again, it feels like BB being so close to Wano, that just makes a lot more sense. But maybe I'm just like really holding on to that theory for no good reason. How Elbaf time is slower, and that's why Emu is telling the Holy Knights to hurry up their mission. Oh, dude, I keep forgetting about that. And people drop that on one of my more recent theory crafting like videos about, yeah, time moves differently in Elbaf. So do you think it moves slower, or what if it moves faster? Wouldn't that even... No, slower makes sense because everything is giant. And like, you know, when you look at a giant, it's like they move real slow as they're stepping. So yeah, slower for sure. I feel like when we get out of Elbaf, we are going to get such a massive lore dump about everything that's been going on since we missed it, and that'll just be crazy, dude. Do you guys think it is public world knowledge that Saturn got unalived? Because, like, I'm not sure about that. It was obviously done in front of Marines, so there were, like, fodder Marines that saw that. But, like, do y'all actually think that the whole world knows about that in general? I feel like Blackbeard would go after Pluton at Wano first. That is what I'm thinking, too. Especially since he's not far from Wano. And they are the most vulnerable right now. You don't know if it's the same one either, but there's also tales of a lost continent called Mu, which gets blended with the Atlantis myths a lot. Atlantis was closer to Egypt, not the middle of the Pacific. There's also theories that the archipelago of Hawaii is also remnants of Mu. So I wonder if Mu is the snake red line serpent soaked in red, maybe? Why would it be the red line when we've already had Mu referenced as the person standing right in front of us, Gunko/Emu? Why would Mu be referenced like that when in the manga, Mu is being referenced as a person and not necessarily a place? Okay, so Mu was a massive continent in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Cool. Theoretically. I think Mu might have been the previous king of the Ancient Kingdom. And with the sea rise and everything displayed in Egghead, I think the Ancient Kingdom of Mu is at the bottom of the sea. Dude, I actually love that connection. So, obviously, Oda loves to incorporate like real life mythology and stuff like that into this deeply. Like we've seen a million counts of that, and every theory crafter loves that. Mu being an Atlantis type massive continent in the middle of the Pacific Ocean that sunk when sea levels rose. It would make a lot of sense that also happened in this world, and I could totally see Mu being the old leader of that kingdom before it sunk below the seas. The real question is, what part of the One Piece world do you think Mu exists in? And what if that's where Laugh Tale is? What if Laugh Tale exists somewhere where the Ancient Kingdom of Mu is? That's wild, actually. There's a lot to that, dude. So, Mel, basically, you remember how you said Jabra was right and that there is a literal devil in fruit users, and Emu can influence and use the power of fruit users not aligned with true freedom via their devil tumor? Yes. So to give you guys a little bit of basis on what we're about to be talking about, and I'm sure Mel's probably going to give us a little more context, Mel has a theory that when you consume a devil fruit, something along the lines of a tumor forms on your brain. And that tumor is kind of where those powers come from. And when you die or get killed or whatever, that tumor is where the devil, basically, like the devil that is within the fruit, that dissipates from your body, that leaves your body and obviously goes and re-manifests somewhere else in the world, as we've seen devil fruits do. With that logic, Mel goes on to say the way that Blackbeard is stealing devil fruits is when someone dies, but like the moment they do or catching them right in that moment, if you like when he covered up Whitebeard had half his face blown off, so he had basically an entrance to Whitebeard's skull to be able to consume that tumor before the devil fruit, like the devil of the fruit, left that body. I'm butchering this, Mel. I'm trying to do like a quick TLDR, so I know Mel will give us a more comprehensive version, probably in our Discord. Super interesting point there. And I really do, I've cooked a little bit on that as well. But Emu being able to influence and use the powers of fruit users, I definitely agree with that. I've been thinking that for a minute. And then now, going back to this, seeing that Emu or Mu is able to take over Gunko like this and control their body, one way or another, Emu can absolutely use their fruits because Emu can just straight up control that person. You really like that? You think the heart could work too in place of the brain? There could be a couple arguments to that side, Jet. I would say the brain needs to be more specific than not, because that is like that leaves a better connection as to the way Blackbeard went in and got it from Whitebeard. But I guess actually you could make the argument either way, dude, because Whitebeard had multiple holes in his chest. So it could either form on your heart or on your brain. Maybe that makes a difference as to if you're pure of heart or you're going for more selfish intention, because like the ego exists in your brain, but like the true form of you exists in your heart. There's something to that, actually. You forgot his head was open because the anime censorship, exactly. But he did have 2 holes in his chest too, so it still works, man. It still works. You can see Blackbeard being able to handle multiple tumors. I mean, exactly. Your reason for believing that Emu can use the fruit's abilities on their own outside of possessing fruit users is because remember when Emu killed Cobra using the arrow? Yes, exactly, Mel, exactly. I still do believe that Emu can use their powers with or without possessing them, but this is just solid confirmation that Emu can at least possess them and then use their powers from there. But I think this is what shows us the connection and makes it make sense that Emu probably just holds the same abilities as all of the Holy Knights. That every person with an abyss mark. Like, my thing is, like, it all boils down to these abyss marks. If you have an abyss mark, Emu can control. I mean, Emu's got you. Like, you have sold your soul to the devil quite literally at that point. BB can teleport anywhere. Is that a fact? Or is that speculation? Because BB does just pop up out of nowhere. You think BB's next move is to snag the Seraphim with Devon's power to copy Saturn, since Vegapunk can't update their system. Oh my god. Jet, All right, let's cook on that, Jet. I've been wondering where Devon's ability to turn into Saturn is going to come into play, because like we knew Devon got that ability, and Devon can shapeshift using their ability, and then they have Saturn, or they've touched Saturn, or whatever it may be. So Saturn's dead now, so I was all like, why would it matter to be able to turn into Saturn if the world government knows that he's dead? Then that power is not going to help. But if that is enough to be able to control the Seraphim, and then Blackbeard gets the Seraphim, his crew will finally not be a crew full of fodder, and I'm still standing on that. The fact that Law and Beppo and Hachi and Sachi or whatever, those like few people were able to like almost beat the Blackbeard like crew. Like Blackbeard's crew is kind of fodder, not gonna lie, but we also haven't seen Blackbeard go all out. I won't get into that. Either way, if Blackbeard can add the Seraphim to his crew, that would be diabolical, bro. Like, that's game-changing, man. That really, really is game-changing, dude. So with his knife, he could carve out any part of the body. Oh, facts. Yeah, him just keeping that knife on him is why he could do that. Yeah, you're so right, Tim. So Blackbeard could be able to carve into wherever that tumor might be. Okay. And maybe with his... All right. How about this? And let me put a spin on this theory for you, Mel, based on what Tim just said. What if the tumor forms randomly anywhere in your body, and you don't know, you won't inherently know about that. So it's not just like it's always on the brain, it's always on the heart, it's always in this one corner. No, it forms randomly in your body. But the reason Blackbeard is able to find the tumor is because he has the power of darkness. Because like I don't think he had that power pre devil fruit, but once he got his devil fruit, it's the power of darkness, which means he might be able to sense where the darkest part of you is, and the darkest part of you would be the devil fruit tumor, the inherent ball of darkness that you contain within yourself because you ate a devil fruit. So Blackbeard, it's not about the fact that it's on the brain or anywhere, it's just Blackbeard can find it immediately because he has that natural sense because of the fruit that he has. I like that, Tim. I think that was a proper addition to this theory, dude. Just went back to check, and not saying it's impossible since we don't really know where Kamabaka Kingdom is relative to Marijwa, but at least 2 days have passed since they left Egghead, source chapter 1126, so you don't know if the Revs would be able to get there unless time and Elbaf theory is true. Good point. But the Revs already have forces near Marijwa, so it wouldn't be tough for them to start. How about this, Yamato? Let me meet you in the middle. They're saying the kingdom's on fire right now, but I bet the kingdom isn't on fire because the Revs are attacking it. I bet the kingdom is on fire because the celestial dragons are starting to revolt and go crazy because they've been being starved of, like literally starved, because there's a whole embargo basically around Marijwa because that's what the Revs have been doing. They've been like stunting the quality of life for these celestials. So what if these celestials are actually starting to riot and lose their mind because they're not getting this lovely king-like lifestyle that they're so accustomed to, and the moment it gets taken away, they start crying like little babies. So the reason they're saying Marijwa is on fire and they had to send Shamrock back there to get some order in place is because the Celestials are actually probably starting to go against the actual world government itself as well. And not like they have that much power, but it's a lot of them. So like what the revolutionaries do best is to create turmoil within a country and to show them the truth. And maybe the Celestials are not necessarily waking up to the truth, but bare minimum pissed off that they're not getting to live the lifestyle that they're used to living, and that is what the Revs want to do, to breed instability within the whole government. Blackbeard Sniper Van Augur has the ability to teleport. They teleport in on Katakuri. Yep, there it is. Cool, Tim. Got you. That's all I need. Or on Cracker. Yep. All right, so yeah, Blackbeard can pull up literally anywhere at any time then, yeah. He can't go far distances. Okay. He couldn't even teleport to the end of the island when he was talking with Gabon and said he was still getting used to it. So Yamato, just as a response, what if Van Augur manages to awaken his devil fruit? Like, then, if he awakened it, he would be able to travel those distances. Van Augur's awakening, being able to teleport bullets would be crazy. Usopp gonna die at this point. Dude, for real though, bro. If Van Augur can end up awakening and teleport bullets around, dude, that's gonna be a crazy power. But, actually, wait a minute, Fried. Let me kick back on that. Van Augur's awakening allows him to teleport bullets, but if Van Augur's going against Usopp and Usopp locks in on his observation hockey, then Usopp will be able to know where Augur is going to teleport the bullet, and he's going to be able to dodge it. So Usopp's actually going to be out here dodging bullets. I actually think that's going to set Usopp up for such a banger W, dude. I wonder what's important about the left arm of the Abyss. left arm and the Abyss? Are you talking about like Shanks's left arm / Abyss? I think everything is important about that. I think that is the full lifeline connection way ability that Emu is able to interact with all of these people entirely. I think that is the core of Emu's abilities. I think the Abyss is going to be the single most important bit of information as far as how to like hurt Emu in the end of it all. You think this might be a hot take, but you don't think Nika was real? I actually I don't think that's a hot take. I like that concept a lot. How old is Nika before Joy Boy? So that goes into what Mel just said. Nika is the mythological god. I do feel like it's very possible that Nika is not real. Nika is hope. Nika is the manifestation of the hopes and dreams of a good world for your children, basically. Like the faith you must have to be willing to do your best to leave this world better than you found it, so you know your children and the next generation can enjoy the fruits of your labor more and have peace and freedom and food and all of that stuff. This is well shown in a lot of religious stuff and things like that, and not to get too religious or anti-religious here, but like whether God is real or not, a lot of people need something to believe in to help them move forward and push and strive for better things. You need some faith to have the personal will to continue going when everything else is against you. And I think Nika is just that. Nika is the idea of freedom, the idea of hope, the idea of faith. And then we have someone like Joy Boy who represented that entirely within a generation, and that is where the devil fruit. So Joy Boy is probably the first one to have the Nika fruit, and that fruit was born based on the massive level of hope and faith and desire for a positive being to follow and to look up to for saving. That's where Joy Boy came from, and that is what Luffy is doing now. First question I really want to ask about this chapter: do you think Sommers is actually dead? Do we think that Scopper Gabon did in fact just kill Sommers just like that? I hope so. If it's true that he is actually just completely and utterly gone, that would be one of my favorite things Oda's ever done. Because we never get definitive deaths in this quick, and I think it would be really, really cool just to give us a power scale level of Gabon, and just to show us that like we are really talking about some serious heavy stuff. I think it would be so sick if Sommers were dead. That being said, I have literally zero faith that Sommers is actually dead. I hope so, because again, if Gabon was able to cut his hand off and it didn't regen, then he should be dead based on all logic. But unfortunately, Oda has death baited me so much that I just don't have a way to have faith in this, which is really, really unfortunate. But I think if ever there was a chance that someone actually just got bodied and for real got bodied, this is the moment. Emu deciding to take over Gunko, if we're making the assumption that Emu has their powers and they obviously have some of Emu's powers, then yes, Gabon successfully killed Sommers. Emu would be pissed because Emu just lost some of their ability, some level of their power, some level of control and all of that. And also, even though Emu doesn't personally care about these people, he needs them to survive to be able to continue enacting their will. So I think it makes a lot of sense that Emu was like, yo, you just took something from me. I'm going to pull up and not make the mistake that, the elders did. I'm going to actually come and take care of this. You don't believe he's even injured? Interesting, Tim. So do you think this is all a show? Do you think it's like what do you think it is that we're visually seeing? If you don't think Sommers is injured, but it was displayed that his hand did not grow back, and then in this chapter we saw him get cut relatively in half, what is it that you think is going to happen? That panel, he's alive, look. Oh, right. There it is. Yeah, no, you're right. You're totally right. He's saying ow. So, damn it, if that's the case, then he's definitely not dead. So how about this? What if this is the possibility? Maybe their physical body isn't actually there. That very well could be a good theory, Tim, and I'm kind of starting to think that might be it. Or they are able to be injured, but they're still kept conscious because of some of the demonic abilities that Emu has given them. So they will, in fact, like maybe die once Emu chooses to release them from whatever, but when you're still like under Emu's control, you genuinely cannot die, even if you get chopped into pieces and aren't able to heal. Like so maybe Gabon's haki was able to make it to where he can't heal and regen, but he still is actually inherently immortal. There could be something to that. Got a hockey theory? Let me have it, dude. So, like, if Gabon's hockey is what's keeping Summers from healing, like a hockey band-aid that prevents... Okay, so like a hockey shield or something that, like, covers something up. Okay. So maybe Zoro and Luffy, who already know how to pass their hockey outwards, can further make it stay on an injury. Yeah, dude, yeah. Like, leave hockey remnants on somebody. I like that a lot. If Scopper can't take these guys down, then maybe it'll be Loki since he has beef with them. I fully agree. Loki's entering the chat. I hope sooner than later. I really, really hope. Like, I need him to, but then they also gave us that ominous bit of like, he might not. You know, he's going to be healing for quite some time. But dude, the fact that they did in fact light the library on fire is devastating, bro. Is absolutely devastating. And seeing like Angie over here like crying like this and just like, and this bastard just sending a flaming arrow at the rest of it, like, dude, this is devastating. He's like, yep, I'll take care of the other building. So the school and the library is going. Do you think it's actually going to burn down? Do you I mean, because like Gabon said, like, I can't save both of them. So like do y'all think we've lost this information? You think the tree is going to burn down altogether? Low key at this point, it seems like it really might, man. It really, really might. Becoming a multi-year flame that Emu is going to use to fuel his weapon temporarily. That would be insane. If this entire tree caught fire, it would genuinely burn for quite some time. That's a good assumption because of how big it is. It would take time for it to spread. That could be a alternate source of like a great flame. That's actually a crazy thought, bro. That's a crazy thought. Not a chance it's gone. You think the library is definitely going to survive? 100%. It would make no narrative sense to say it was saved during Egghead just destroyed again next arc. That's absolute facts. Yeah, they already burned the library of Ohara once. We don't need to do that again. Oda holding back the best fighters right now is crazy. Like, I wonder what's going to happen because no way Straw Hat will be able to handle Gunko controlled by Emu. I mean, absolute facts. That is the thing. So, Gabon just got knocked off the tree. Gabon is not there anymore, and Chopper chased him, which, Jet, this is the moment where we get the Chopper saving Gabon with his floof point. Chopper's going to go floof point when he grabs Gabon, and they're going to have a cozy, nice little landing. We were half right. It just wasn't going to be Chopper and Robin. It's Chopper and Gabon, which is crazy. But Gabon has now yet again been separated from Colin, so it's no problem for Gunko to take Colin yet again. And now Gunko has good specific reason to take Colin. Our theory is working its way out every single week, guys, and I love it. Colin is 100% going back to Marie Joie, dude. You just cannot tell me otherwise. I love it. Well, I don't love it, but like I love to see this actually coming to fruition. But yeah, they have separated all of the strongest people are now in the underworld, like all of them, except for Dory and Bragi. Dory and Bragi are out doing stuff like fighting the giant imaginary demons. But Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Loki, and Scopper Gabon are all in the underworld now. There is absolutely no force up on the surface that can handle what Gunko is about to do. There's just nobody. Like, so this is crazy. Like, this is the moment where I'm gonna call it here. In the next chapter, or within the next two, Gunko is going to immediately snag Colin and just haul ass out of there. They're going to be done with this fight. They're going to be done dealing with these people. The Holy Knights are about to leave. The Holy Knights are leaving Elbaf within 2 chapters, probably within the next chapter. They're going to grab Colin, maybe a couple other kids, get on that boat, and get the hell out. It's happening. It's definitely happening. This is our Luffy Zoro summoning. This is absolutely our Luffy Zoro summoning. This is going to be it. And it's going to be through Gabon being down bad. And that's what's going to make Luffy snap. Luffy's going to be like Mr. Yaw or Old Man Axes or whatever he decides to call Gabon. I don't know what weird nickname he has for him. But he's going to be like, who hurt you? And then Luffy's going to go turn up. But Luffy's not going to get there in time. The Holy Knights are going to be gone before Luffy makes it up there. If the Holy Knights leave, this will be the perfect chance for the Straw Hats to level up. Exactly, bro. Exactly. I think the Holy Knights would be smart to leave right now. They have successfully lit fire to the school and the church, or and the library. They have the moment to successfully snag these kids and get away because there's no one in front of them who can stop them. There's no reason for them to be there anymore. They have succeeded as of this chapter, more or less. Because I just don't think Luffy and Zoro is going to get there in time. I really don't. The last little thing I really want to touch on in this chapter before I wrap this stream up, Gunko obviously has a direct connection to Brook. Now it's no longer Gunko likes his music. Whoever Gunko is without the brainwashing, I'm still very convinced. Like, this added more to my theory of Gunko is a kid who got captured by the Holy Knights at a young age and got indoctrinated into this. And the granddaughter option does seem to make a lot. So how many years was Brooke floating alone on the boat? Can anyone hit that number for me really quick? Yeah, so yeah, 50 years, 60 years. See, Gunko doesn't look like she's 60 years old or 65 years old, assuming this is a 5-year-old, just making very random assumptions here. So I think that still proves to maybe some level of immortality or something like that. Or maybe we're back to Gunko, some kind of clone. I don't know. Yeah, and I think I think you're absolutely right, Had. That's the point. I think it's when they get their immortality power. That's why Saturn is an old man, but not getting older, because he looked and was that age when he got those powers. You think Gunko is Brooke's daughter? I mean, it could be. It could be Brooke's daughter, maybe granddaughter. That was an option somewhere out there too. It's very possible. And to the point of the father, like father being the reference here, or that triggered her, and she remembers like someone who, kind of sort of looks like her but with longer hair. I don't know. Or maybe this is her as a young one. Maybe her, like this is her right here in this little like baby form. The father is the thing that triggered her to remember this. This is probably right before he went off pirating, dude. What is this memory? And that's what she calls it, a memory. And she says, Brooke, are you Brooke? Like, which is an interesting thing that she says, like, are you Brooke? So like, I don't know. Because she could have just said father, like, are you my father? Yeah, bare minimum, like a father figure. I think father figure is probably the more right way to say that, Had. I think father figure is much more likely. You were definitely hoping we would get more Brooke backstory at some point. You're so excited. Dude, I'm blown away that Elbaf is about to turn into like low-key like Brooke's backstory and not the Usopp moment that we thought it was. That's just so crazy. Not gonna lie, you could possibly see a second time skip happening before the war. It's possible. I actually do see that happen. It's becoming more realistic because we need to level up, dude. We have to level up. Like generally speaking, I understand that every Straw Hat doesn't need to be as strong as the big three, but we gotta level up to some degree because we are just fodder right now. Feels like that power creep is starting to come, so you think one last time skip could work. How long do you think the time skip can be realistically? Because, like, look, right now, Marijois is crumbling. Right now, in this moment, Marijois is crumbling. The only thing that I could imagine is that if it is true that time moves differently on Elbaf compared to it moving outside of, in the outside world, that would be the way they do it. The Straw Hats stay on Elbaf for a year, and maybe that ends up only being like 5-10 days in IRL time, and that is the way we are able to get this quote-unquote time skip, training arc, whatever it is, and then they can go chase Gunko to Marijois. You think Elbaf is going to be long, and it could be multiple Straw Hats arc. Nami learns greater navigation. Usopp becomes a Thor archer, and yep, fully agree with that one. And Brooke becomes a king of Sovngarde. Dude, real quick, crazy theory, and this might have been brought up by one of you guys or someone in my comment section. Again, I'm consuming One Piece content in too many places, but shout out to whoever triggered this idea for me. The owl in the library, we keep forgetting about that owl in the library. It's able to change the size of things, right? So what if Loki is out of the story right now because he's injured, down bad, whatever. He's not going to be able to actually join the fight. What if the owl in the library makes Usopp giant, like literally the size of a giant, and then Usopp is able to pick up the hammer that Loki uses, or Usopp gets some other giant-made weapon that is similar to it, and then Usopp actually gets a for real IRL 10-ton or 100-ton hammer, and we get a real actual moment where Usopp is not only getting to do like the 10-ton hammer thing, but he is a giant, which is the things that he looks up to the most. I think that would be the most perfect thing to happen to Usopp, and I think that would be so sick. Imagine Usopp got a supreme grade hammer. That's what I'm saying, dude. Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be crazy? What if Usopp's dials got fruits? That would be nuts, actually. I didn't even consider that. That opens up a lot of different possibilities. Elbaf has to have some treasures, right? Maybe they will give him a new weapon. I think they will either give him a new weapon or craft him a new weapon. If we're going to get a quote-unquote time skip / training arc while still on Elbaf, during that time, I could see the Smiths making him a new legendary weapon. And they could maybe possibly immediately put a fruit into that weapon as they do it. Giant Usopp with an actual 10-ton hammer and using it to hit impact dials for weapon crafting. Brother, there it is, bro. There it is. What if the owl dies in the fire and Usopp's slingshot gets the Grow fruit? Ooh, bro. All right, real quick. That would be crazy. Because that would make Usopp a real force to be reckoned with. Because if he gets the Grow fruit with that, he could get like boulders, mountains, wild things, and turn them into something small and keep them in his pocket. And then when he goes to shoot that at somebody and it gets released from the slingshot, then it turns into a mountain flying at you at the same velocity as what it would have been with him just shooting the pebble out of the slingshot. That would be an insane power-up for Usopp. That'd be perfect. If it's Sabaody, then we're definitely getting a time skip after Elbaf, after we raid Marijois. Well, how about this, Jet? I think if we're going to get a time skip, it has to happen before Marijois. I think it has to. I don't think we're strong enough to deal with what's going to be waiting for us on Marijois. I think the time skip has to happen at the end of Elbaf, more or less. Basically, what's going to happen is the main story of everything that's going to happen is going to be wrapping up actually very soon on Elbaf. And then we get a time, and then what's going to happen is the manga is going to jump from showing us what's happening on Elbaf to showing us what's been happening in the world post Egghead. And in that, we're finally going to get to see the revolutionary movement. We might go get a flash to Wano and see what's going on with Yamato. That might be the moment where we get confirmation that Law washed up on Wano and is going to link up with Yamato. And then we get to see the beginning of the fall of Marijois. And in all that time, the time skip will be happening in the slowed down time of Elbaf. And we're going to jump back to, 1 year later on Elbaf time. And we'll find out that Usopp is now lit with a hammer. Luffy has figured out more sun god shit. Kind of all of that stuff. And then we get to leave Elbaf and go to Marijois and do that. I actually really, really like that. Thank you guys so much for locking in with me for another community discussion for the One Piece chapters. This manga is going absolutely insane, and chapter 1150 is setting up to be something huge. But now that we've made it here, let me know what you guys think about all the theories that we just dropped, and if you have anything to add on to these theories. And of course, consider dropping into the Patreon to get the full uncut version of this community discussion, as well as reactions to the new episodes and other exclusive anime reactions. And lastly, consider joining the Discord. We've got a fantastic community over there where we talk about One Piece and a ton of other anime and manga. You would love it. Trust me. Coming out with us, and I will see you guys next week for chapter 1150. Tell the people you love them, touch some grass, drink some water. I'll see you next time.